Welcome everybody, it's Telman. In this video we are going to be talking about the ending cutscene to the Final Reich, and I'm going to be explaining some things when I can, but mainly in this video I'm just going to be talking about its new concepts and ideas that it is now introducing to us, because you have to understand that this is our first exposure to this story at all. This is the very first time we've ever had any exposure to this story before, so it's really hard to explain things when you don't have that much information about it beforehand. So that's what I'm really going to be doing here. Of course, like I said, there are some things I can explain, and I will do that when I get to them. But anyways, with all that said, there's one more thing I need to mention. I just remembered, a good thing I just did. But I also do know there are 2 Easter eggs, but they do have the same exact cutscene. But what is different is what happens after that, and of course, I'll talk about that towards the end of the video. But anyways, with that said, let's actually get into this video. So let's first start off at the very start of the cutscene, because that's what you normally do. And what we see is the boss zombie being floated away and pulled towards the Zeppelin. And I want to stop right here and talk about a couple different things, because we do see the boss zombie with claws and everything, but I'll touch on that in just a second. But first things first, I want to talk about this electric force that we just see that's pulling it away. And this is something that I originally was calling the 115 of their universe, and it is very similar, but it's actually much different, because it's not just a mystical force much like 115 or just this mystical element. It's not just something as vague as that. It's actually an electric force, and we do know this because of a lot of different things that was said through quotes and just of how it looks and how it works. You just see it working. It's very similar to how normal electricity does, and we actually have a name for this, and it's actually called Geistkraft, and I'm probably butchering that name, and that actually translates to spirit force, which is obviously the English translation, but it is called the Geistkraft. But I first want to look at how it's used, because you can see it being used mainly as an electricity, because in this example in the ending cutscene we see it being used as a magnetic force, and of course magnetic force is an electronic force for the people who didn't know. But anyways, that's one example of it being used as an electronic force, also being used as a Tesla gun. In the batteries, obviously batteries are used just as normal electricity, so it has a lot of uses as a normal electricity, but at the same time it has some special qualities to itself, and one of those is that it can bring the dead back to life, of course in the form of a zombie. So we don't exactly know how they're going to explain that, or if they ever will, but it is one of the special characteristics this has compared to all the other types of electricity. Now there may be more it could do, and there most likely is, because we do also know it could heal wounds instantly, because we do hear this in prologue when we have Maria walking through with the stuff where she picks up one and just heals her immediately, and she's really surprised at this, and it's pretty cool that it could actually do that too. So this electric force can do a lot of different things. That's what I'm trying to get across here. Now I'm going to cut myself short right here, because I spent way too long in my last recording. That's why I'm recording this again, talking about this, and what I'll do, I'll just make a separate video about this subject on a later date, so stay tuned for that thing. But anyways, moving back to the ending cutscene itself, we actually see Claus and the boss again. Now we want to first look at this boss zombie real quick, because I have a really big problem with the design of this boss zombie, and I do get it's supposed to look like the horror look and all that stuff, but my problem with this is that if you look at what they've been saying Straub has been, he's building things that are made for the battlefield. And honestly, why would you make something that large out of flesh? If you just get a tank, you could wreck that with, it just wrecks it when it's made out of flesh, unless it's very mobile, which didn't seem to be the case when you were fighting it, at least. But I don't know, it just doesn't seem like something that's made for the battlefield, and it just really seems out of place. Like, why would you need all those heads there? Why would you need that design? It just doesn't make sense compared to everything else Straub has been making. But anyways, that's just a small complaint. Now another thing I want to point out is that obviously Claus is actually in the stomach area, and I have a pretty good idea of how he ended up there. If you guys don't know, Claus was actually leaking, or excuse me, he was sabotaging a lot of Straub's work, and of course Straub found out about this, and you know, if you just continue down that road, I think you guys could kind of figure out what exactly went down there. But anyways, if you continue through this ending cutscene, of course it gets pulled towards the Zeppelin, and it pulls the Zeppelin down and it crashes. Now that's about it for the important part of the cutscene, but one thing I need to mention real quick is that Straub most definitely wasn't on that blimp. Now it may have sounded like that when he was talking through the speakers and all that stuff, but I can tell you for a fact he wasn't. And how do we know this? Well, there's actually a trophy that actually tells you, because if you walk through the map and look around the zombie spawns enough, you'd actually see Straub sometimes inside the zombie spawns, and you get an achievement if you shoot him. Of course, you don't kill him when you shoot him, he just walks away awkwardly, but you still get an achievement. So this kind of is a problem if he's on the map, is somehow still in a blimp that keeps flying in from somewhere far away. It just doesn't make that much sense. So he was most definitely not on there. Now, one thing I need to mention real quick is that Straub was in the zombie spawns, and that is weird as heck, because what the heck is he doing in the zombie spawns? If you're a human, you probably don't want to be anywhere near the zombies. And what may be happening here is that they're suggesting that Straub has some control over the zombies. It may not be complete control, or maybe he'll reach that in the future or something like that, but at this point, he has some sort of control over the zombies to at least make them not attack him. Now, that is just some speculation, so we'll just keep that with a grain of salt, but it does seem like that it may be what they're kind of leaning towards or trying to suggest at this. I'm not too sure, but that's what I just got from it. And like I said, that was about the end of the important part of the ending cutscene. Now, of course, like I said at the start of the video, there's two different endings, of course, after the cutscene itself. Now, you have two different things. You could rather see Claus dead on the floor, or you could see him alive. Now, I can't say too much about this, but we do know that at least we have different alternate endings. Now, I don't know how I feel about alternate endings, because we do know what happened with Black Ops 2 with that weird stuff with the alternate endings. Max is inside, Richthofen inside. Hopefully it's nothing too bad. Maybe it's just something that'll maybe collect towards the end and add something more to the story at the end of the story, and not something that changes the story fundamentally like the two sides inside Black Ops 2. Hopefully something like that, and nothing that messes it up too bad, but I don't know. We'll see at some later date, hopefully, but I can't tell you too much besides that. Of course, people are saying there may be more to this, and if there is, then good, and I'll make a video on it when there is some, if there ever is. But getting back to the normal Easter eggs, or what you see also when you just left the cutscene or finished watching the cutscene, you see your character holding something quite interesting, and this is why you get the trophy fireworks. And what's the fireworks trophy's details? It says collect the artifact, and this is the artifact you are collecting, and I'm very confident that this is Barbossa's hilt, and of course I'm pretty sure that's just the handle to the sword. And one thing I'm really confused about this whole idea of collecting this very specific artifact is who exactly wanted to collect it, because if you look at everybody who was sent here, it just doesn't make sense. There may be something hidden, that's what I'm hoping they're doing here, but if you look at it, Maria was here to collect all the arts and everything and all the historical things that the Nazis stole and take them back, just like the other four people are here and what I assume their superiors were sent them here for. But she was also here for an alternate reason, to save her brother, and that was her main reason. There was never anybody that we heard that wanted this very one specific artifact. I just find it quite interesting that this artifact is the main point of this trophy, but we have no motivation from anybody that we at least know of that actually wants this artifact. It is quite interesting to see that. But anyways, that's about it for me, guys. Tell me what you guys think about this. I am really fascinated to see who wants this artifact. I'm not too sure what we're going to do in the future though. Are we going to be collecting more artifacts like this? Just pick up one artifact, go to the next one. One artifact goes to the next one. I don't know. We'll have to see though. But again, tell me what you guys think about this. Did I miss anything? Did I over exaggerate something or anything like that? Go ahead and tell me down in the comments. If you guys did enjoy the video and left a thumbs up, subscribed, hit the bell, and most importantly shared that one helps the most, then I thank you guys so much for doing so. But I'm gonna go, and I will catch you guys on my next video.